YouTube! Hello and welcome. We're going to be making some Espeon Macarons. Macarons. I don't really know how to say it. You tell me in the comments below how I should be pronouncing it. But first, we need to make sure that we have all of our ingredients before we get started. So you're going to want 100 grams of egg whites at room temperature, 140 grams of almond flour, 90 grams of granulated sugar, 130 grams of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And this is just the ingredients for the cookie itself, not the filling. We'll be going over the filling later in the video. If you want all of the ingredients listed right away, I'll have it in the description so you can make sure that you have everything prepped and ready to go before you follow along with this video. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to sift the almond flour and the powdered sugar together to make sure that you get a nice fine granular texture. So that makes our cookies nice and smooth. There's no lumpies. Now I'm just using a spoon to help me kind of like sift it through a little bit easier, because sometimes it gets a little too clumpy and just shifting it back and forth just isn't doing it. Sometimes using a spoon helps. And I'm gonna be honest, at the very end, when I just couldn't get it to sift through anymore, I just kind of plopped it in there. Okay, next we got our mixer, our egg whites, our granulated sugar, cream of tartar, and vanilla. Now we're gonna use that electric mixer, whether it be hand mixer or KitchenAid, and we're gonna beat those egg whites until they're nice and fluffy. Once they're good and foamy, you're gonna add the cream of tartar, and then slowly, and I mean slowly, add the granulated sugar. Next, you're gonna add in the vanilla. Make sure that you keep mixing it up real nice so it gets real nice and stiff. We need stiff peaks. That's what we're looking for at this stage. Make sure that you keep mixing until you get those stiff peaks. Look at that, nice. Okay, now it's very important. This is where you add your food coloring mix. I'm using purple and like a pink in this to get that Espeon color. Now, if you don't want it to do Espeon macarons, that's okay. You can use whatever color you want to do. But be careful not to add too much, because this will ruin the stiff peaks if you add too much. And make sure that you are folding. We want to fold it so that we don't ruin all the air that we just whipped up into this. Once you got a decently even color, then you want to carefully, and I mean carefully, add in your dry ingredients. And you want to do it 1/3 at a time if you can. Here, I probably do a little bit more than that. But really, the less you work it, the better if you can. Once you got it all combined, you want to make sure that you get a nice figure 8 flow without any of the batter breaking. I think I kind of sort of got it here. We got it close enough. It's okay. It'll be fine. As long as you get an 8 thing going, you got it. Okay, now we're going to add our mixture into a piping bag so that way we can get those nice little perfect circles. So now here, just do your best. Do as many little circles as you can to get our head for our Espeon. Oops. Yeah, we'll just keep going. And yeah, I mean, if you're doing something else, you do whatever figure you want to do, but we're doing Espeon here. I'm doing Espeon, so we're gonna do Espeon shape.
Now
Now we just need to tap out the bubbles, tap, 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 until you get a nice, even, flat coat. As you can see, they're not all like anymore, like how I did when I squirted them out. And now we want to make sure that we let them sit for 40 minutes. Let those little babies rest for 40 minutes before we put them in the oven. We want to make sure they get a nice little shell to them. When you're ready, preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to cook them for 12 to 15 minutes. After 7 minutes, we want to rotate the tray. So maybe put it at 7 minutes, come back, rotate, put another 7 minutes. And voila, here's our done cookies. Now we just need to fill in. Okay, now for our filling. It's a French buttercream filling. We're going to use 220 grams of unsalted butter softened or room temperature, 5 egg yolks. Make sure you just got the yolks. 100 grams of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of water, and just a little pinch of salt. First, we're going to start by combining the sugar and the water in a medium saucepan over low heat. And we got to stir until the sugar dissolves, and you just keep stirring. And then, once it dissolves, you're going to increase the heat to a medium-high heat to bring it to a boil. Now, while you're waiting on that sugar to heat up, because sometimes it takes a little bit of time, we're going to add our egg yolks to our electric stand mixer. We're going to beat them up till they're nice and thick and foamy. Before we use our sugar, we want to make sure that it's reached around 240 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to immediately remove it from the heat and slowly drizzle it into the egg yolks. We're going to keep mixing that until the bottom of the bowl is cool to the temperature, because it's going to be kind of hot from the hot sugar. So we're going to just keep mixing until the bowl is no longer hot and is kind of more cool temperature. Once that bowl is cool, we're going to add in the butter, 1 cube at a time, allowing each piece to incorporate before we keep adding more. Now I'm going to add the vanilla and the salt, and we're going to keep mixing until it's nice and smooth and creamy, probably about 5 to 6 minutes. And then we're going to add our food coloring, just so that we can get that nice same color that we gave our cookies. Once the cookies have completely cooled, now we can take them off of the sheet. Just be careful, they are very delicate. They can break and damage if you're not careful enough. Look at that nice fluffy gooey texture on the inside. Yes. Now we're going to take a piping bag and fill our buttercream into the piping bag so we can start to assemble our cookies. Just take one side of the cookie, put a little dollop in the middle there, and then squish it together like a little sandwich cookie and set it aside, and we're getting ready to decorate. And time for the decorations. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use white candy melts, and we're going to microwave them for 30-second intervals until they get nice and melty. And we're going to use our food coloring to get the color that we want. Once we get the desired color, we're going to fill the chocolate into a piping bag so that way we can start to create our design. If you need to or want to, you can use a reference like I have here, or you can print out a reference and maybe you can even have it behind the parchment paper so that way you can get the correct size that you want. I'm just going to eyeball it here. So I'm making the ears and the tail. Just for a little added fun, I'm going to use up some of this leftover chocolate and just drizzle it across the cookies. You can do that if you want to. You don't have to. Now that we got the basic ear shape and tail shape, we're going to use some of our leftover white chocolate that we've set aside and create a new color so that we can fill the inside of the ears to get that dark purple going. I stuck my base ears into the fridge for a little bit so they could harden, and as I'm doing the inner detail of the ears, since the base was colder, the chocolate started to harden faster. So just keep in mind that if you want it to harden faster, you can put the base in the fridge, but if you don't, then I would just let it sit out and harden on its own. It does seem to harden up pretty fast if you put it in the fridge. Now I'm going to take a little bit more of our leftover white chocolate and add a pinkish red to it so that I can get that jewel in the center. We'll use a little bit of our leftover purple so that we can use it as a glue to add our tails and our ears. And there you have it. We got our Espeon Macarons. I wonder what Espeon would think of these cookies. Looks like Espeon loves them. Yay! Bentley, what do you think of Espeon?